The following events take place on a Saturday afternoon, after a couple with the boys. Be warned.
It's called the Smorgasvine and it's culturally acceptable. Alexa, off. Dude, this jump puzzle's pissing me the fuck off.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Fuck! What the fuck was that?!
Do not drink in Quest. BioWare approves this message.
With the release of Legacy of the Sith and it being SWTOR's 10th anniversary, I decided to re-roll a bounty hunter and go through every single quest in SWTOR. Inevitably, it led me to two of what I consider the most forgotten about quest lines in SWTOR, the Macro Binoculars and the Seeker Droids. These missions open up at level 52 and they accomplish a myriad of things. First, they serve as an introduction to SWTOR's Macro Binocular and Seeker Droid mechanics. Macro binoculars are just that, a set of binoculars. Although they are added in with some cool add-ons like analytics, they're a pretty easy mechanic to learn as we get them in the Zio story and other quests around the galaxy. While we have the macro binoculars on one hand, on the other hand we have seeker droids. This is an item largely forgotten about in later expansions. The mechanic is you scout around an area placing down the seeker droid to where you'll be alerted whether or not you're in proximity of a discoverable item, and then you'll have to sort of inch your way around in a circle in this radius in order to secure whatever the hell it is you detected. The seeker droids are definitely the more annoying of the mechanics. Second, what these missions do is they're a good chunk of story that also introduce two important characters to your character. These characters are no other than Darth Acina and the Shroud. Now, it's obvious with the release of 7.0 that Acina is going to turn into a pretty major character later on. After all, she is the Empress of the Sith and the proxy for which the story moves. So if you're doing a story-driven run, it makes sense to do the Seeker Droid missions so that way your character can truly be an icon of the galaxy pre-events of Knights of the Fallen Empire. It's also just interesting to interact with Acina prior to becoming Empress. Now on the macro binocular side of things, we get introduced to the Shroud, a galactic underworld villain who basically orchestrates everything in the galaxy without anyone knowing about it. With no other information to go on, the macro binocular storyline really serves as exposition for the Shroud. However, be warned, BioWare doesn't really capitalize on this character, instead electing the Shroud to be a bonus chapter in Knights of the Fallen Empire. However, it was still a cool experience traveling the galaxy and locating his various lieutenants. Overall, the story elements BioWare used for these quest lines is really interesting. With the Seeker Droids capitalizing on the Dreadmaster story and the Macro Binoculars establishing a new story, I would definitely recommend running these quests story-wise on any completionist or story-driven run. Finally, we have one more thing that these quest lines get right. They are actually group content. While you can run the Seeker Droid missions by yourself, the Heroic 4 at the end is extremely easier with a group of two. Conversely, on the other hand, the Macro Binocular Heroic Finale doesn't even let you complete it unless you have a group of at least 3 people. So for the first time in years, the Macro Binocular storyline actually made me group up and do content with other people, which is something I don't really do a lot of in this game anymore. You know, outside of operations and PvP, there isn't a whole lot of heroics that you need a group of people to complete. I found these mechanics to be really refreshing and honestly a lot of fun. When I ran the final Macro Binocular Heroic, I was accompanied by my buddy Agildy and a random level 52 player brand new to the game. So my buddy and I decided we would do this the most efficient way. We decided it would be fun to run the quest without using a guide. This led to several long sections at the more puzzle-centric points. However, eventually we did manage to complete it, much to the rage of my buddy and I. But that's what these forgotten about quest lines do. As you go through the mechanics, your fuzzy memory starts to warm up, you realize you're doing the quest wrong, you call yourself a derp, and then you go complete it the right way. Overall, these storylines do a really good job on presenting the player with new story, new mechanics, and more complex missions than your standard Heroic 2. Therefore, the largely forgotten about Seeker Droid and Macro Binocular mission lines are truly ones I would recommend everybody go through again. These pieces of legacy content are just too unique not to. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. This was certainly a long process considering both these storylines aren't exactly the shortest. So if you enjoyed this video at all, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content in the future. As always, have a wonderful day.